do more with less. And I think we can do it. I think the people are there. If we give them responsibility, and if we let them know that we're behind them, I think that these kinds of things. Don't be an enemy against us. Come on, we're all in this together.
Tell us what you think a deficiency in your department is. Tell us where you think we can do better. As people retire, don't replace them.
Right.
I'm not saying lay anybody off, but let's consolidate.
Let's consolidate, and what you hear, you probably know this too, but anytime I talk to somebody that works for the state, they say the savings is in the management level. That it's not, the problem isn't the guys at the counter at DMV. It's the fact that we've got too many assistant commissioners and deputy commissioners, all sorts of
Did they eliminate any of the deputy?
No, they didn't. The Democrats themselves came out with a position saying that, I think they said that there were 1,900 middle, upper level management people that could be eliminated. And none of that was done. Those are not union positions. Those are positions we can still get rid of. It's going to happen, because the moment's going to come when we don't have any choice. I would rather do it as much as possible now, because then we can do it intelligently. At some point, they're going to walk in and just say, we got to get rid of a quarter of the people. And that will be a mess. But if we would say, okay, we need to cut back and we need to do it every year, we should be looking at that budget every year. What can we save? How can we do this better? And say no more big projects, no more big bonding until things turn around in this country and in this state.
I was watching Dennis House. And they had somebody on saying that each department generally has 9 people supervising over the highest union person, 9 managers. Right, you never see that in private industry.
No.
A friend of mine that works for DCF, and he's a union member. He's got 14 managers over him. He's been there 22 years. He could run the department. He doesn't need 14 managers. He's been there 22 years. He proves himself.
I was earlier this year, I was on a little bit of a crusade with the Connecticut State University system, which is it's not a school. It's an administrative body that sits over Central, Southern, Western, and Eastern.
Okay, they're combining together.
Well, they never were combined. In other words, each school still had its own administration. Each school still had its own president. And then they created an office to sit on top of those 4 schools. And I feel like if they each have their own administration, they don't need anyone on top of them. If you're going to get rid of their administrations and combine them, that's one thing. If you're going to leave them 4 separate schools, that's another thing. Either one of those might make sense. But in fact, what they do is they do both. They say we're going to have 4 separate schools, but we're still going to have an administration. And I have the woman, very nice, intelligent woman, who's the new chancellor of the system. But I had her before me on the appropriations committee, and I just read the positions at the end, because it's one of these things where there's the commissioner and 2 deputy commissioners and 4 assistant commissioners, and it was embarrassing to her just to have the positions read, because it sounds, you can't read it and think that it's not a waste.
Right.
Very frustrating.
Now maybe instead of having Central and Southern and Western, put them all together, change the name, make it another name, and this way here they can do it that way.
Possibly, but I just feel like make up your mind. Either consolidate or leave it alone, but don't do both, and then we have the worst of both worlds.
Right, exactly. Right. You think you'll accomplish anything?
Well, I'll tell you, I went in there with one issue already that I was working on, which was this utility tax.
Okay, that's another one of my... Well, Nick, if you're out there watching, call in.
Yeah, Nick. I have to do his show, too. The utility tax was a sneaky tax. There was a fee on our utility bills that was due to expire, and the legislature decided to turn it into a tax in the hopes that people wouldn't notice because they were already paying. And I found out about it last year before I was elected, and got talking with a lawyer friend of mine, and he said, that might not be legal. And we actually challenged it in the courts, and the case went all the way to the state Supreme Court, and I lost in the state Supreme Court. Actually, they ruled against me on simply a matter of whether I was eligible to bring the suit or not, as a matter of standing. They didn't go to the merits of the case. But the good thing about it was it brought enough attention to the tax and embarrassed the legislature to the extent that the governor and the legislature repealed the tax. So that one I feel I accomplished, and I stopped, because of my suit, I stopped the state from borrowing. They were going to borrow $800 million against this tax. They didn't borrow it, and they were mad at me, but then in the end they decided they didn't need it anyways. So I feel like that was not exactly a legislative accomplishment.
That was before you were elected, so that was even better.
Before and during.
Yeah.
It got resolved during the session, but I thought, okay, well, that's one. If I can stop this busway, that'll be another.
Right.
I feel like I'm in the minority, and I've got to pick my spots. And if I can find something that I think people will support me on,
right,
then I can accomplish something. And I think the busway, the utility tax was one. The people were definitely on my side, and I think this busway could be.
Right. Yeah. I still can't believe that. 9 miles, and I thought the tracks were already removed. I didn't realize.
No. In fact, they were going to bring, for this site tour, I'm going to do a site tour tomorrow morning because we have an environmental challenge on it. For the site tour, they were going to bring a train in and run it because the tracks are in good shape. Beautiful double tracks in Newington. I stood there, and you look out, and you could look from Newington all the way to Hartford. And I thought, from here to Hartford, it's $1,000 an inch, every inch.
Okay, I heard them say at the hearing I was watching on 96, okay, now they want to do some economic development all along the way.
Yeah.
What good is it if there's only be buses going up that road? You're not going to be able to get workers going there.
Yeah.
From there. You're not going to be able to get tractor trailers going there to deliver stuff.
No, just buses.
Yeah, so if you have new industry there, they still have to come in from another way. That road isn't going to do nothing for them.
And the road does not go into the center of Newington. Newington has a nice downtown.
Yeah.
Doesn't go there. Center of West Hartford, very nice downtown. Doesn't go there. The existing buses do. But the busway, because it follows the rail path more or less, actually misses the parts of town that people might be interested in going to.
Are they going to have commuter parking lots?
Now, this is the other thing about it is they're talking about we can get 8,000 commuters. They've only got parking for 300 cars. So I feel like they don't even believe, doesn't think it's going to work.
Right. Okay, I'm getting the signal that we're down to our last 2 minutes.
That was quick.
Like we say, 28 minutes goes by real fast. I say in 28, what, 60 minutes is 60? Especially when you have a good guest. We talked about 2 good subjects, and we got a phone call about a very important issue that I'm sure you're going to be able to do some great work for this lady.
I think it's an interesting issue. I'd be happy to talk to her about.
Right. So I think it was an enlightening show tonight. I'm surprised we didn't get more phone calls, but a lot of times people don't like to call because we're on a roll and we're talking, and they figure if they call, they take us off our train of thought.
That's okay.
But you're welcome on here anytime you want. Get in touch with me. 7 o'clock Sunday night, Issues and Safety. And John Rogers is taping it, and it'll be up on YouTube within the week.
Maybe before the session starts up again next year, we can do it again, Chuck.
Okay, sounds very good.
Okay.
Okay, Senator, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. And next week, I'm going to have whoever the candidate or the candidate is for mayor from the Independent Party. They're going to have their caucus next Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Thomas and Savings Bank.